Okay, so I'm in a really weird mood today, so you're just going to have to bear with me. I was unaware that there was another Freighter X on YouTube. And that's fine. I mean, it was a fictitious name anyway. I'm not going to give out my true magical name or motto. There's some things you just don't do. And so I picked Frater X for its simplicity and for its obvious play on wanting to remain anonymous. And the pronunciation of Frater over Freighter, it's not that important. It's tomato tomata. It rhymed with father. It sounded better to me. And I'm going to go with what resonates with me more. Just as Crowley, I know that most people pronounce it Crowley. Doesn't really matter. Whatever resonates with you more. Now, if you're polarized, that'll probably bother you. As it should. Doesn't take much to irritate and move a polarized person. So I'm changing the name from Frater X to Freighter Xavier. It's just an expansion upon the X. Because I don't want people to mistake me for the other guy. He's teaching about the Freemasons and that's fine. But that's so far removed from what I'm doing that I don't want people to mistakenly associate me with that. Not all knowledge is practical. And I'm trying to give you some practical knowledge that you can use. I mean, learning the history of the Freemasons and the Illuminati is great and all, but at the end of the day, it's not really going to do much for you. I mean, how are you going to put any of that to use? And understand, I'm not out to bash anyone, or else I'd have to bash everyone. Because everybody's doing this. Everybody's worried about what everybody else is doing, instead of worrying about themselves. You got a whole lot of people out there trying to save the world, or save their country. And yet, have they saved their city? Have they saved their town? Have they saved the people in their neighborhood? Have they saved those on their street? Have they saved even one single one of their neighbors? Have they saved themselves? Because all growth expands outward. You got people trying to water the leaves instead of watering the roots. I mean, worrying about what everyone else is doing without getting your own house in order first is just swimming against the current, and you're not going to get very far doing that. Everybody says they want truth, but they don't want truth. Polarized people don't want truth. They want validation. Anything to verify the truth as they see it from their own limited polarized perspective. And if it validates it, then they will be attracted to that. And if it doesn't, they will be repelled by that. It's so simple. I mean, it should be. As I said from the beginning, not everyone's meant to have this knowledge. So I will deliberately throw in things to test and weed out those who are not going to make it anyway. Because if you can't get the simple concept of the law of polarity down, then you're screwed. Nothing else is going to matter. I mean, there's a certain wisdom that comes along with being depolarized. Now, I can give you the keys to the car, but if you don't understand the rules of the road, or can tell the difference between the traffic signals of red meaning stop and green meaning go, eventually you're going to crash. And this is why I keep going on and on about it. I don't mean to sound like a broken record here, but I need to make sure that you have everything required before you start the car. But I really don't have to do too much because being depolarized to a polarized person is quite boring. There's nothing really there to move them one way or the other from a centered middle position. So yes, I am also aware that these lessons will come across as extremely boring to those who are polarized. And this is about as ranting as I get. And I do the best with what I got because, truth be known, I don't have any experience teaching people this stuff. As a solitary practitioner, I don't talk about magic. I don't talk about these things with other people. And so I have to be in a balanced, depolarized state so that my subconscious can help guide me through all this. I may know more than most on this topic, and certainly more than anyone I know personally, but I don't know it all. But I don't have to know it all because I know this, the model that I'd given you at the end of the last video. As I'm teaching, I'm also learning because now I'm focused on what I need to put out there, and other things will start popping into my mind because I have a connection with the subconscious, who has a connection with all the data in the collective unconscious. So see, I could be working on how to present this model that was initially based on Bob Proctor's model of the subconscious and the conscious mind. But then all of a sudden the tarot card, the lovers, will pop into my head, the actual image. And I know well enough to know that that's not a coincidence, that I'm being shown something. That's the language of the subconscious. It is telling me, pay attention to this, check this out. And then it will start walking me through it and showing me what I need to see. And this is what it's like. And pardon the expression, but it's really fucking cool. I mean, it is just mind-blowing. This type of actual image. And I know well enough to know that that's not a coincidence, that I'm being shown something. That's the language of the subconscious. It is telling me, pay attention to this, check this out. And then it will start walking me through it and showing me what I need to see. And this is what it's like. And pardon the expression, but it's really fucking cool. I mean, it is just mind-blowing, And that's the point. We don't have to know everything because we're always learning. There's always more to learn. You can study a tarot card every day, and I do. I study one tarot card every day. I meditate on it. And new layers of understanding will be revealed to me. A symbol just doesn't mean one thing, people. People think, oh, well, this symbol means this, and this symbol means that. Well, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a symbol is worth 1,000 pictures. They have layers upon layers of meanings condensed into them. And probably because they're ascribed to the collective unconscious, where all the data is stored. You've had all these people put all these different meanings into the same symbol. And so, yeah, it doesn't mean just one thing. It can mean this, and it can mean that, and it can mean the other thing. And your subconscious is linked up with that. So if you have an effective means of communication between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, it will keep showing you things. It will keep giving you new meanings and answers to the questions that you're pondering. And this is the way it works. And I'd say I'm sorry for demystifying all this for you, but I think that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. Now, it is a bit of a trick gaining access to the knowledge because the conscious mind is projective and the subconscious is receptive. So in order for the conscious mind to get what the subconscious is trying to tell it, it needs to learn to shut up and listen. Which takes time, training, and discipline. You have to train to do this, and part of that training is becoming depolarized. See, everything from the very first lesson that I've given on is all coming together for this, to learn how to do this. I don't care what kind of magic you're doing. If you're doing chaos magic, working with sigils, well, you have to put those sigils into the subconscious, do you not? And then get the conscious mind out of the way. Wicca, the moon, the goddess, what do you think the moon is? It's the subconscious. The sun is the conscious mind. The moon is the subconscious mind. The high priestess, tarot card. She sits on the throne between the two pillars. She's depolarized herself, and now she's in the middle. All the knowledge of the subconscious will now be laid at her feet and serve her. The moon now serves her. In Kabbalah, they talk about how the conscious self cannot directly view the divine fire above, but can only catch glimpses of it in the pool of water below. That pool of water is the subconscious. All the reflections are there. This is what it means. In the Lover's Tarot card, the man is looking at the woman, and the woman is looking up at the angel. The angel is looking down at both of them. But because the man is not looking directly up at the angel, he has no direct line of communication with it. Now the woman's eyes are fixed on the angel and not looking directly at the man. But they're on the same playing level. They're standing on the same ground. So she could still shout over what she sees to the man if he just shut up and listen. And I mean, how do you think I came into this knowledge? This is how it was given to me through this model. I didn't read this in any book. Nobody told me this stuff. I got it directly from the source. I mean, everything I'm telling you about this card was put into my head in an instant. Boom. It's just there. And I can explain everything in this card as to how it relates to this now. And there's more. It keeps coming. I don't think I'm going to have enough time to get to it in this video. But there's even more layers to this. The Garden of Eden. They're standing in the Garden of Creation. And when I quoted the Kabbalion on the law of gender, and it stated that no creation was possible, mental, physical, or spiritual, without this principle. It's in the freaking card. You know, I don't mind sharing this knowledge freely, because it's not really even mine. It's, you know, from the source. And if I'm not charging for it, then you may not charge for it either. I don't care if you share it, but you may not charge for it. You know, knowledge isn't the only thing that comes from the source. And the fact that I'm even bringing it up means that somebody either is or will be thinking about doing just that. So don't. And if you actually took the time to learn and utilize this, there wouldn't be any reason for you to do that. Because with this, you literally have the keys to the vehicle and the kingdom in your hands. See you next time.
Oh snap, I just spilled fucking rum on this headset. What's going on, everybody? I'm outside on my back deck. See all that shit there? I had to write shit down. The video you just listened by Frederick Xavier is what I'm going to talk about. And a few things I wrote on here is growth expands outward. Polarized people polarized people don't want truth, repelled or attracted, meaning they want to watch videos that they're attracted to, things that justify or validate what they already believe, because they're polarized, so they're controlled by the beliefs. Swine eat pearls. And if you are polarized, then you're not going to completely understand the 7 hermetic principles. And once again, you can't completely be depolarized. It's not going to happen, but you can be as depolarized as, you know, you're trying to be. Channeling starts happening when depolarized-ish, and I wrote that because I don't think that's accurate. It's not what Frater said, but when, I'll just keep reading what I wrote. But when you have cross communication, when you have connection to all data, being depolarized is a huge plus. So whenever you are connected to your subconscious, and then that means you have a connection to the super unconscious, or whatever you want to call it, where all the data is stored. Well, if you're polarized and you have that connection, which I think is possible, it's going to come out through your programs, meaning everything that you believe. You're going to get information from the subconscious mind, however that happens. That's what I'm going to talk about today. However that happens for you, and what method. And I'm going to go over how you can look at your chart and find out what's your best way to channel information. But if you're depolarized, you're going to be able to explain it to people from a great neutral state. And if you're polarized, then you're going to say it from some other Christian programming or some other fucking bullshit. Symbols are worth 1,000 pictures, and if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a symbol is worth 1,000 pictures, meaning symbols are fucking infinite, man. So useful to learn about symbols and use symbols. It's funny, I shot a cigarette butt on my fucking, on the ground over there. As I did, a piece of glass broke, shattered. And just so you know, a lot of glass breaking around you is a sign of a curse. So do the simple steps it takes to get rid of a curse. And like I said, I'm already fucking reversing everybody's magic. These things happen to me outside more than in my house because my house is protected. Outside, not so much, even though I have thought forms around, but that could be simple spirits, earth spirits, nature spirits, and protecting against someone else's thought forms or someone else's curses is different from protecting from earth spirits. So maybe I'll get into that if I have time, but here's what I want to talk about today. I have Moon and Venus in Gemini. Hence, when I write or speak, any kind of type of communication, but those are the two main ones I use to channel information, I get communication from my subconscious. Now, Frater Xavier in this video talks about how he gets this information, and he doesn't quite say this is channeling information or say this is how channeling works, but he explains that this is how it works, and this is how he gets the information after he has the cross communication. And pardon the expression, but it's pretty fucking cool. This is exact words as you just heard. And he, in previous videos, also says he has Moon in Gemini, so he's a quick learner. And that's something I also have. I don't know if that necessarily means you're a quick learner, but that's what I want to go over. I'm going to go sit in my car like I normally do there in a second and go over that and how Gemini, Moon in Gemini, is how like channeling and communication happens, and how if you look in your chart wherever your moon is, if you study what the sign is where your moon is, you can learn how and the best way you are going to be able to receive channeled information. Now I still think for everybody in general, if you want to get channeled information, you create that cross communication and you get your subconscious or you get your conscious mind out of the way, and you're going to get the information. But I think for people with Moon and Gemini, such as myself, I think it's easier for us to have a cross communication, such as Frater Xavier. And I can name a few other people that are on YouTube that talk about occult stuff and whatever the case is, who also have Moon and Gemini, like me and Frater Xavier. I have Venus also there, and Venus is kind of like what you love, because Venus is love. It's what you should be doing in the physical realm, stuff like that. So maybe I love channeling, maybe I love the subconscious mind, maybe I love talking about the subconscious mind because it's in Gemini. Gemini is communication, so I like communicating about the subconscious mind. That's all the kind of shits I'm going to get into, so stay tuned. I'll go get my car, bring my bottle of rum here, woohoo, Captain Morgan, baby, and let's have some fun. Alright, what the fuck's that? So, it's a new day, obviously, you can tell. It's not, I'm in my car, but it's not me drinking rum last night in my car when it's all dark and shit. I like this video on Frater Xavier for a few reasons. One being that he makes a mistake, but I put him on a pretty high fucking plateau, pretty high fucking standard, way up there. He's like, you know, I don't worship any of it, not even my goddesses and deities and shit like that. However, him as a spiritual teacher and a guru, I really respect him, and I put him right up there. And you know, maybe even like Ralph Smart, for God's sakes, if people start going after him, I'd probably fucking, I got his back. So when it comes to Frater Xavier, someone who seriously taught me the craft, taught me Kabbalah, and made me get depolarized and start getting my life in order, got his back, even though he doesn't need it. But when he makes a mistake, it shows how he's human, which is perfect. Which is what you want from these people. You want to know they're human. You want to know that they're not just, you know, because it's hard to follow a guru, a spiritual teacher, if you think they're flawless, you know. And in this one, he starts saying, like, how do you think I got this? I didn't read this in no book, but I think it's 2 videos later or a video later. He did. It's in the book Kabbalah and the Great Work of Self-Transformation. But he's not completely wrong, because he read that book. Information stored in his subconscious mind. While doing this, his subconscious mind is feeding him the information as he needs to teach it. So it's still, how he presented it is still correct. He's still teaching, and as he's speaking and trying to figure out what to say, he's letting go of, you know, what he thinks, what the conscious mind is telling him to say, and he's allowing these pictures to flow through them. So yeah, this is coming directly from the divine mind, from the unconscious, the subconscious rather. But he did read it from a book. He read it from Kabbalah and the Great Work of Self-Transformation. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether he makes a mistake or not, because, that's one thing I love about this guy. He could have just played it off. He could have pretended no. But he, in a few videos later, decides to tell everybody that he made a mistake, which is amazing, which is what you want from these people. You want them to be able to tell you when they make a mistake. You want them to be able to tell you that, and you'll be able to see that they're human, that they're just like you. Whenever he said his moon was in Gemini, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I was so happy, you know what I mean? Like I said before, the time that I finally got on Facebook before I got canceled again, and Birch commented on one of my videos. I think it was Tapping the Goddess, my like 4th fucking podcast ever. He gave me a like and said something, and I was so happy. And then a day later, my fucking Facebook is gone. I was so pissed just because of that reason. There, I didn't give a fuck about all my shit. It's like, fuck, man. I had a line of communication established with Birch, not my subconscious mind, but Birch, and I lost it. Nonetheless, I realized it's not that important too. I don't want to be like a fucking groupie and bugging the man, but so it's probably better off that I lost that line of communication. But nonetheless, seeing that these people are human and that they make mistakes, and when they can actually honor up the mistakes and say, hey, I fucked up. But it really does teach, even though he said that he received this from the unconscious and so on and so forth. But when you find out that he did get it from the book, the Kabbalah, Great Work of Self-Transformation, the book he's promoted, the book I used, it still proves his fucking point. He read that. He didn't remember he read that. His conscious mind had no idea he read that. Yet, it was stored in his subconscious. The subconscious mind sees all and knows all. It caught it, it picked it up, and when he needed it, it gave it to him. And then even later on, the subconscious mind felt the need to remind him, say, you know what, you did see this from the book. It's from this book. Alright, how am I going to start off this bitch? Well, I already started it, technically. I don't have my keys to my car, so this lighting's going to have to do for now. But anyways, so, first off, Frederick Xavier, always been a big fan. Most people know that on here, that I'm a big fan of Frederick Xavier. Most people know that, so I need to say it. And like I said, I like the fact that he made a mistake on there, and then he ends up correcting a few episodes down. That shows you, he's actually a balanced and depolarized person. Because if he was polarized, then he would care. I mean, depending on where your polarity is, but most people would care about them making a mistake and looking good and being a teacher, and him being a well-rounded, depolarized person actually admits to it. But once again, he still proved his point in my book about that, about the whole fact that, he read that book, he understood that, he's been working with that model, and as he's teaching about that specific concept, that gets shot into his head to tell him, how to present the model to his students, to his YouTube channel. So that's pretty fucking cool in my book. Anyways, so this is why I rewatch things over and over again, because I watched this video, and I don't know how many times I watched this. I can't give you a definite number, but what I do know is anytime I either get stuck or after going through maybe a dark night of soul, or sometimes during, or sometimes I start thinking, what do I need to do, or I lose myself, I always restart the mystery school. I also always restart Birch's magical, his witch school, which is what he calls his YouTube channel. I always restart that too, which I did recently as well. And I just did this one. I just restarted this one as well, or the mystery school for Frederick Xavier as well. And he's got 25% off today for his customers for all his programs. So if you got to use 59K subs, 59K and then subs, small caps, SUBS, and put that in for his Gumroad programs. Something like the $10 American a month for the Laws of Magic would be like $7.49 a month for the whole year too as well. So it'd be a good time to do that. You'd be saving, almost $3 every month. Anyway, so I did this one video, one of his earlier videos, somewhere, I think it's in the 1 to 10, from, being number 9 or 10 or maybe even 11 or 12 video he made, maybe even less. I think 1 is his introduction, 2 is what is magic, 3 is polarity, 4 is polarity again, and then I forget what he goes into after that, and then he does 3 on accessing knowledge, and this is the first one. So I believe it's under the it's before his 10th video. But out of this one video alone, me watching it the other day, the things I wrote down and I showed you, I rewrote them down on this piece of paper. Growth expands outwards. I could talk about that probably for at least half an hour or more. Polarized people don't want truth. They want you to validate their beliefs. I could probably talk about that for at least a good 15 minutes or more. Swine eat pearls. Kind of the same concept, just a polarized view of people, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, can't understand seven hermetic principles well unless depolarized. And that's something I really do want to go into. Channeling won't happen well or be well received unless depolarized. Once again, you can channel information. You're always receiving your thoughts are basically channeled information. You get to choose and accept them. Now, you can also do candles like I do, or ask and meditate and try to connect both half of your minds. Whether you're polarized or not, you can do this and receive information. But that information is going to come to you, and depending on your beliefs, you're going to spin the information within your beliefs. So, for example, you start getting stuff if you're a devout Christian, let's say a hardcore Orthodox Christian and believes witchcraft and channeling and all this is of the devil. Well, you start getting information from the all mind. So you start developing this connection to this unconscious. Well, you're not going to think it's the unconscious. You're not going to think it's channeling. You're going to say, I got this from God himself. And God hates channelers, yet you're channeling at the same time. It's kind of what I mean there. So you're going to have this polarized view, and you're going to only believe that this is directly coming from God. Yet everybody can do this. And I don't believe in God the same way the Catholics believe in God. Yet I'm doing the same thing as someone who, for example, that guy who I learned etymology from. He gave a lot of good responses and a lot of good spins, and I believe he was doing a good interpretation of what he believed in his mind to be true to himself, but it also came through his polarity, his self-limiting beliefs, his belief systems. So once he started talking about witches and shit like that, he said he was going to kill us. Point is, he could channel and he could get and interpret information, yet he still had a polarity. So you can, but you're not going to understand the seven hermetic principles well, and you kind of need to do magic, I think, anyways. It's like the beginning steps, because you're not going to understand the Sephiroth or path working, which is like the laws of magic, and you're not going to understand that if it's... Sorry, I keep getting messages on my fucking phone, and I keep looking up at. You're not going to understand the seven hermetic principles well if you do have some kind of polarity or whatever. And it depends on the polarity. Now, if you don't have Christian programming, but you have other programming, then... Well, for example, today, I got a buddy of mine. I was trying to help out. He's no longer a buddy of mine. This is like the third time now that he's doing, I don't know, purple fucking pebbles. They're the purple fucking whatever it's called that's killing people. Elephant tranquilizer mixed with fucking crystal meth. And he's accused me of sleeping with his wife. And he knows, and I told him all the things that happen to my wife. And me and my wife barely leave the house unless we're together. Like, very seldomly. I mean, and that's probably an issue that we need to work out. And it's my own insecurities, and I know this, and we're making progress. But she'll leave and go to Tim Hortons, and it's not very long. And if I leave, I go somewhere, and I'm not very long, and I come back too, just to show that same respect back to her. And he's accusing me of sleeping with his girlfriend, and he knows about my magic practice and my teachings and all that. And anytime he had hard times going on in his life, for example, his girlfriend, the one he accuses me of sleeping with, which I never have, by the way, I always did nothing but try to help these three. Meaning his little girl, his wife, and him. Now, I may not have always done that, especially when we were both doing drugs together. I was going to him to get the drugs. He was my connection to the hood, basically. Shit like that. It wasn't always maybe to have their best interest and only my interest in getting drugs. That has dissipated, and I tried helping. And recently, I haven't gone there because I haven't been getting drugs, wanting to get drugs off of him. Nor have I wanted to be leaving my wife here alone, and her, because she doesn't like when I hang out with him. Because he still does dope and I'm trying not to do dope. Stuff like that, right? Anyways, point is, he's accusing me of sleeping with his girlfriend. At the same time, he's saying stuff like, oh, you snake-tongued, you fucking twist anything to make it sound good. You should expect your $1 million fucking check in the fucking mail anytime soon. This is the fucking messages he sends me. Because he's all pissed off because he thinks I'm fucking his wife. Sent me a message the other day pretending to be his wife, saying that we can go meet up soon as she's going... And it was him, but she's going to her sister's. And it's like, well, why the fuck would we meet up? We never talked. Anyways, I sent him a message back, basically not proving that it didn't make sense what he said, but along those lines. Okay, well, what happened again? And why what do you have for me that we would be meeting up for? Because it was him trying to get me to say, okay, no problem, I'll be there to fuck you soon, kind of thing, which I've never slept with her. So it's just him being paranoid, not sleeping, and being on drugs. But the point is, he did candles before. He's tried different things that I've told him to do, and they've worked. He's also did other spiritual things, but he is from the belief, and it's deep embedded inside of him, that the Bible is real, and that these prophecies in the Bible are coming true. Coronavirus is fake, but if it's not fake, it's definitely a prophecy for the end of times, and he wanted me to validate this. And quite frankly, a few times I told him, well, let's agree to disagree. We don't have to hate each other because we have different opinions on this, but I don't agree with you. I know magic's the way. I know people, well, not the way, but magic is a way to get things in your subconscious mind. And if you want to connect to the divine, the God that you say that's in the Bible, all you have to do is connect your subconscious mind. And I've told him this many times, and he was a flat earther who believed no way that this fucking thing isn't flat. And he'd always say stuff, well, what about the sun and the moon being up at the same time? And it's like, well, the moon is in a different part of the sky every fucking night. And anyways, all that's just to say that he thought I was doing something wrong, but in the same sense, his programming still came out and was insulting me at the same time. So all the things that bugged him about me, all the things that I was doing, from the pentagram on here to me saying I'm Illuminati, telling him the Illuminati is not as bad as he thinks it is. It's something made up to make a them. Because if you don't have somebody to be against, then you can't unite a people. Birch has a great episode about this. If you have a coven, well, if you have a group to be opposed, then you will unite your group and you guys will be stronger. If you don't have a group opposing you, or a them and us, then that will happen within your coven. It always happens, and I've seen the proof of this myself within schools, within everything. There's always these little clique groups and people that rebel. So if you unite them, if you have either a church to be against, or if you're a church you have some Satanists to be against, then you'll be a stronger group. But anyways, he had these little issues about me, meaning that, I believed in the Illuminati wasn't bad. I told him that, multiple times that I've manifested money, I get candles, I've been staying home, and he is very upset that he is not able either to do it, or because he can't do it, he thinks it's not real, and he thinks I'm wasting my time, or I don't know what he thinks. And quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. I know what's real, and I don't care what he thinks. I perfectly told him that he needs help today, and to basically to never contact me again until he does get help. And if he sees me on the streets, to not fucking say hi, because I'll fucking tear him apart, or he's going to tear me apart. But either way, there's no more friendship here. And it's just simply, it's not that I hate the guy for this, but it didn't help that my wife's the one that saw the text message. That's always great. We're going through our own little battle, and she sees some guy accuse me of fucking his girlfriend, wife, my fucking friend of all fucking things, the friend she hates, the person I'm supposed to have contact with. So it made a big mess for me nonetheless, but that's not the part I care about. It's the fact that I consider this guy a friend, and when I consider you a friend, I trust you. I trust you 100%. I trust you to not rip me off. I trust you if I have a supermodel wife. Well, I have my wife right now. If she's in fucking lingerie, I could leave you at home with my wife if you're my friend, if I trust you. I only have a small circle of friends. But these friends that I have are these kind of guys that I can trust with my wife in lingerie, and they wouldn't fucking look at her. They would keep their eyes away. I could leave a pile of money or drugs or whatever in front of them. I could trust them with my fucking children, which is even worth more than my wife in lingerie or drugs or money. Point is, this is what I keep a friend, and I thought he was that kind of guy. Even though he had his own issues, he was working through his drugs and all that, I still thought he'd be a solid guy like that. Turns out, third time he's accusing me of fucking his wife when I never have, gave him reason to. He's trying to catch me in some fucking lie I never fucking did, and it's just like, you know what? Break the tie now. Apparently, and it's, I'm not going to mourn the fucking death of this relationship because my wife wanted me to end it, and maybe I was hanging on because I thought I could save him. Can't save everybody until they're fucking ready. He wants to fucking keep doing dope and accusing people, making fantasies up in his head because he's that bored because he doesn't want to get a fucking job, or he wants to just pretend like his life sucks so bad he needs excuses why his wife doesn't fuck him anymore, so he says people are fucking her when it's just the fact that he cares more about getting high than actually doing anything about it. Well, that's his fucking problem, not mine. But the point is, programming is deeply embedded in us, and this guy was my friend and pretended to not care about those things, but it turns out he really cared about the fact that, I think I can manifest things and do things. What? No, baby. Why? Why? I have one of the... I'm trying to record right now, so just wait, baby, okay? Sorry about that. My water wants candy, but it's, I don't know. It feels like it's probably only 8 o'clock, but it feels later than that. Anyways, I'm probably get her the candy. I just had a shot of rum, so I can't drive. But anyways, point of all that was, I don't know what all that was, but anyways, all I'm saying is here. I guess initially what I was trying to say before, I had to get that off my chest, and sorry about getting into that and pretending it had something to do with this, which it really didn't. But the fact is that, he has programming, and the fact that he's making up these fantasies, but his programming still comes out. He's got to shoot these little jabs in there, which Frederick Xavier had an episode about that too, saying he had people over, friends that know he works from home, works online, and and they would make little jabs. Well, some of us have a real job, or some of us have to work for a living, or go to I forget how he said it. He's like, people that are jealous will give little jabs like that, and these people apparently love you, but they give you little jabs like that, and that's what this guy was doing, giving little jabs about my magic while accusing me of fucking his girlfriend, saying that he's gonna catch us and whatever else. I don't fucking even care. But this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. If someone has this, they consciously might, seven hermetic principles, and they'll listen to Frederick Xavier thinking, okay, I can be depolarized, I'll work on depolarized, but they'll keep going ahead, and I did it too. I kept going ahead before I was completely depolarized, trying to listen to his videos, and then certain things wouldn't jive with me. You know what I mean? Especially, that's why I couldn't listen to E.A. Coetting for the longest time. I would watch Birch for a little bit, because anytime you start talking about vengeance is healthy, or the left-handed path, I'm like, oh, that's all the devil. No. I still had programming. I had to get rid of it. So you can't see or hear the full fucking picture until you get rid of that. And that's what I mean with the seven heretic principles. The all is mine, as above, so below, as within, so without. You can, okay, I understand that. But if you have some kind of programming, especially if it's religious programming, well, how can you understand what's above and below is the same? If you believe in heaven and hell, well, what's below is also above. That means, well, what's in hell is also up on the earth, and what's on the earth is in heaven, and what's in heaven is in hell, and what's within that murderer is within you, and what's within you is within that murderer. And it's like, well, no, fuck, I'm better than that guy. So you don't understand the hermetic principles because you're not depolarized, because you aren't in a state to understand those things. I'm not dissing anybody. I was there. But actively become depolarized, and then these things will start revealing themselves to you more and more and make more sense. And that's why when I watch a video from Frederick Xavier, one of his first, 5 or 7th video, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things out of a fucking 14 or 10 minute fucking video that I can talk about. You know what I mean? When we have cross communication, the unconscious, when we have a cross communication to the unconscious or the all mind, then we have connection, and we have a connection to all the data there ever was. Then I have now symbols are worth 1,000 pictures, because he says, well, if pictures worth 1,000 words, then a symbol's worth 1,000 pictures. And he talks about how, because everybody who's ever seen a specific symbol or picture has ascribed a meaning to that. So a symbol doesn't mean just one thing. People talking about the Illuminati or the Six. It's like, no, that's not true. And if you're depolarized, you'll understand that a little bit better. And then the last thing I have written down here is I have Venus, Moon, in Gemini. And the reason that is important, my friends, is because of what I actually wanted to talk about, which is this whole Frederick Xavier's main point, or the main thing I got out of this video was, and the whole growth outward is very important too, but I mean, what I got out of it the second time, and what maybe inspired me to do the video before I wrote everything down, was him saying, and this is what it's like. So I'm teaching this lesson, I'm trying to talk about how to connect the Sephirods and using the tarot card, the lovers, and then all of a sudden he gets he's trying to talk about how the subconscious mind gives information to the conscious mind and how you can, interpret it and all that, and then all of a sudden in his mind, the picture of the lovers comes up. And he knows that's the subconscious mind talking to him. And then he starts saying, and he's like, it comes in so fast, it's kind of hard to do, but it comes all at once. But he's like, I don't have enough time to do this video. And he ends up making 3 videos about this information. So he wasn't completely lying. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, was that part right there. And so when Frederick Xavier in another video talks about him having Moon in Gemini, I thought that was very significant because I also have my Moon in Gemini. And in another video, he talks about, if you want to know what you're supposed to be doing, look where your Mars and your Venus are. So where your passion is and what you love is. So what you're passionate about and what you love, you put those two together with the houses and the signs, and you'll be able to figure out what you need to do. And, fucking messages. And so I'll leave my Mars aside right now. But what I love is where my moon is. My moon is representation of my subconscious mind. My subconscious mind is within Gemini, which some people say represents the conscious mind, but I think it represents, if anything, the two halves of the mind. The dark side, the light side, also represents your lungs. It represents a whole lot. It's the twins. It's the first symbol that's represented by actual people and not an animal. But it represents more. I don't think Gemini just represents the conscious mind. I think it's Mercury that people think is the conscious mind and all that. Mercury does rule Gemini, and the third eye and all that. And that's because it's in between the two halves of the mind, and that's where you get your cross communication and. But point is, my love is with my subconscious mind in a sign that has to do. It's in the second house, and which second house is the money house. Maybe not necessarily always about how you're going to make your living, but you can interpret it that way as well. But it also has to do with more than just money and different aspects, I think. Anyways, I could be wrong about that, but point is, I'm not even going to get into that part of it all. But I'm going to look that up after I stop this video. But so I love. My subconscious mind is where my Venus is, my moon, and anyways, point is, Gemini is communication. It's how you communicate. So, for me, how I interpret this, and I think it's damn accurate, same with Frater Xavier, when he's teaching a lesson, he gets these thoughts. When he's writing and preparing a lesson, he gets these thoughts. His subconscious mind talks to him, because he gets his conscious mind out of the way, because his moon, his subconscious mind, is in the sign of communication. So when he's doing something such as communicating, writing is a form of communication, talking is a form of communication. When he does certain types of communication, he is able to get information from his subconscious mind. So this is why, if you see where your moon is in your chart, you'll be able to see what is linked. And once again, I don't know exactly if, I think on one level everybody can, if they keep their subconscious mind ready, or if they, because automatic writings, when you write and things come to you, right? Well, that really works with me. I've never had a problem with that. I can write forever. Same with talking. I can talk forever. People know this. Well, that's because of where my moon, my love, and Gemini is all placed within that, right? So, I think House of Values. It's bugging me about the house thing. I'm still thinking about that as I'm talking. Oh, fuck, that burnt myself with my smoke, son of a bitch. But anyways, so the way you can see, still use these means to try to communicate and interpret information. Once again, all the thoughts that come to you are going to come to you, and you can accept or deny them. And if you start expanding on them and asking for knowledge and whatever, it's going to come to you regardless. But depending on where it is in your chart, maybe it would help if I start giving examples, but I haven't thought too much about, like, I've did a lot of study on where my signs are, and I know those great, and I know the basic interpretations of Jupiter, the planets, their base correspondences, and all the other signs correspondences. But for example, if your moon was in Aries for some reason, especially if your sun was in there, complicated, but let's say your moon was in Aries. Well, how would that mean you would be getting, how would you get fucking channeled information? Well, Aries in a physical manner, but it also represents Mars, your Mars energy. Scorpio was also ruled by Mars in your testicles, but so is Aries. It's definitely a fire sign, but I think it's ruled by the sun. See, I need to know a little bit more about this shit. I think Aries is the sun, but it's also a fire sign, which is ruled by Mars and not so much the sun. I think the sun is exalted there, but ruled by Mars, so anything associated with Mars. So if you're a female, then connecting your male mind, connecting to your divine masculine, would probably be a way for you to get channeled information. More than that would be doing maybe something. Maybe you'd be the type of person, because when my sun is in Mars, in Aries, they tell me I'm a very physical person. So maybe if you were doing physical activity, then you would be getting your information, if that's where your subconscious mind is. It might be where your subconscious mind likes to be. You might have this, and it might not, and it might mean, people with their moon in Aries may not be channelers, because if your subconscious mind's in a fire sign, it's fire and it's water. You don't get much opposite than that, because the opposites are fire and earth, which is male and female, and then air and water are opposite each other. So when your moon is in an air sign, like I have, then you have a nice balance, because I have the moon in Gemini. So it's not bad there, because it's in a communication sign. It's in an air sign. I get thoughts. My moon is in the sign where thoughts come from. where you get thoughts and you communicate those thoughts. I also love doing that. So when I start talking, I get more thoughts as I'm talking. So you would need to do the research on where your moon is. And, if moon is in Leo, then you might be a great fucking actor. Your subconscious mind likes being in Leo. You might be able to, whenever you're in front of a lot of people and in groups and you start talking in front of these groups, then that might be when you start channeling or you're in your element. I don't know. Well, all I'm trying to say is, I know if you write and you speak, you're going to get more thoughts. And the more you write, the stronger you get, because the more you write, the more thoughts come to you and you can work it out. So this is always the best way to channel information and get information. And I know people with their moon in Gemini tend to be fast learners, as Frater said. Like I said, I don't know if I have proof of that yet, but I mean, he's not the only one I've heard say that about that, and I've read it in a few books as well. But you definitely, if you have moon in Gemini, you definitely have the ability to speak and receive information at the same time. It makes you quick thinking, and I don't want to keep talking up my sign, because the point of this video is not to talk about my own sign and talk it up and make me sound like I'm a great teacher or anything like that, because that's far from the truth. And here's the problem with moon in Gemini, just so I can give you some of the backlashes. I get this information and I say it and I know it, but I don't always put it into fucking practice. So I talk about stuff, but problem is sometimes I've had to go back and say, no, I don't do that. Because I'll say something, makes sense, and I try to make up some scenario where it happened, or try to fit things together, and after it's like, no, that's not true, I didn't do that. Because I feel bad about lying about it, because it's not cool to lie, and that's why I said I liked about Frater. I don't know if he found that out right after, that he actually did know that from a book or not, but hearing him say, I got that from a book, it's, I thought I was having some big revelation, but that's how it feels. When all this information starts coming into you, it feels like, oh my God, all this information is coming from you, yet it's not coming from you. And you've been touched by the divine. So, but if you look where your moon is in your chart, you're going to have some kind of idea about your subconscious mind. Now, another thing I like talking about astrology when it comes to your subconscious mind is where your descendant line is. So my descendant line is where Scorpio is, once again. It's always in a water sign. So my subconscious mind is in an air sign. So I got moon and air there, right? But then my descendant line is straight up in a water sign, which, water, the moon, subconscious mind, makes sense. Earth, but then I have water. I have a double female. If you look at Vedic, if not, I'm in balance. If you look at Vedic, I'm in balance, because then I have Mars, I have Aries, and then I have my descendant in Scorpio. So there's a little more balance there. Actually, I think in tropical, it's balanced as well, because I think technically it starts in Libra. It's just past Scorpio into Libra. And I mean, no, because that's Taurus and Taurus. It's fucking Earth and Earth. But anyways, point is, if you look at where your descendant line is, that's your subconscious. So your ascendant is connected to your conscious mind. So anyways, sorry about that. I heard a bunch of dogs barking. I was trying to fucking figure out if it was my fucking dog or not. But your ascendant line is connected to it's your conscious mind. That's why, like, your ascendant people, when they do the newspaper, the astrology is the ascendant and the sun signs are what you take into account, because you most identify with that. Consciously, you identify with it. While your descendant is your subconscious. Like I said, my daughter is the absolute opposite of me. She is ascendant Scorpio, descendant Taurus. I'm ascendant Taurus, descendant Scorpio. So my subconscious mind is in the sign of sex, death, transformation. I also have Pluto there. Depending on if it's Vedic, I have Saturn there. If it's tropical, then Saturn is just up a bit into Libra. So a little bit difference there, but nonetheless, I believe Scorpio being it represents, as my subconscious mind loves the occult. It's very comfortable. I love putting on books to the occult at night. My identity, who I thought I was, the guy I thought I was, this person or whatever, I put off, this man, I always have to be pretty and all that, very Taurian, very Taurus, very Venusian, to the green eyes, to, small head, almond eyes, big fucking neck, very Taurus-like, very materialistic. But turns out I get all that. I get the house, I get the cars, I got all the brand name stuff, and it's never enough. That's my identity, but it's never enough. Turns out I start going into occult stuff. When I make these videos, for example, besides sleeping with my wife and having a nice fucking date night with my wife and stuff like that, the only other thing that really fulfills me, minus like watching the kids accomplish something, like my daughter started riding her bike, or tomorrow my other daughter, my 3-year-old, turns 4 soon. For her birthday, we're giving her horseback lessons, right? Before shit shuts down, or whatever the case is. But that's going to be beautiful. But besides that, making these videos, talking about occult and learning about occult, figuring stuff out, getting manifestation work, figuring out old philosophy fucking lessons, learning and getting new answers about the hermetic, putting things together when it comes to occult. I love that shit. I live for that shit. And it excites me on this level I've never knew about before. Everybody knows, like, when you got a new pair of shoes and you're happy to wear them, that excitement. As a kid, you get a gift you really wanted, that excitement's great. But when you start experiencing this magical appreciation, and whenever things work out that you almost didn't think were possible, or you understand something that maybe a lot of people don't understand, and then you try to teach it, like, it's a whole new level of excitement. I put out my videos. I'm the first one to watch all my videos. I love listening to me, and that might be a problem, but I'll talk about that in another episode. But the point is, this fulfills me, and it's because my moon's in Gemini. I love communicating this stuff. Maybe is it because my descendant is actually in Scorpio, sex, death, and transformation. So I love learning about transformation. I like helping people. I like sex. I like death. I told you that supernatural stuff. I was always, not so much the killing, but I've always been. I love watching supernatural movies, yet I was afraid of it. So your chart's going to tell you a lot. And once again, my AC, DC, IC, MC. So medium Coley would be the top one. I think it's MC, which is like the heaven line or whatever the case is in, holy fuck, I think it's Aquarius. But on the bottom part is where I have my double house issue. I have my 3rd and my 4th house all in Cancer. And that's right where that other segment is. So first one where it is, second one, earth, and then water. And then down here I'm in Cancer, I'm in water again, and up at the top I'm pretty sure I'm in Capricorn. Capricorn to the Aquarius line. So that one might be, no, Aquarius doesn't make sense. Aquarius is there. Oh, earth. Okay, so fire, earth, air. No, yeah, okay. Fire, earth, air, water. So fire, earth, air. Yeah. So it'd be Capricorn would be earth, and then it would be air, and then fucking Pisces water. Yeah. So I might have 4. This is why I say I have more of a negative energy, because at least in my tropical one, earth ascendant, Scorpio descendant, but gender female is the Taurus, and then negative polarity is water, right? Because water technically would be female, right? The moon is female, but I think of air and water as plus and minus, and I think of Mars or Earth and fire as male, female. But if you really want fire and air are both male or both plus, and water and earth are both female or both minus. But all my signs are earth, earth, water, water. You see what I mean? So that's my 4 fucking things. This is why I say I have more of a negative energy. All negative. And then, like I said, I have my 2 girls in a male sign, but it's Gemini, which is, both half and half, which is, Mercury, Hermes, so, it's very borderline at most, but at least there's a little bit of balance there. And then I think I have in Aries, I think it depends on the point is, you can learn a lot from your chart, and from what I just told you, I got a lot of receptivity. I understand things, I take things in well, right? Projecting them, maybe not so much. Maybe why I have trouble speaking things, why I talk fast, why I mumble, might be all part of that. But with my Venus and Moon in Gemini, it almost seems like I need to be able to speak about at least this stuff. And when I speak about this stuff, I fucking love it. I fucking love it. And it's where you can learn about your chart. And it's where your chart can show you. Frederick Xavier is where your Venus is. It's where you're in love. It might have something to do. Well, if I had a job talking about occult shit, I'd probably be happier than pig and shit. But even just teaching or talking or something like that in general might be well. And that's kind of where I have to even out where my Mars is. And I believe my Mars is in Libra, then Sagittarius, then Capricorn. So yeah, Sagittarius. Unless it's Vedic, then it's in... No, I think it's in Sagittarius either way. Mars and Neptune in tropical are both in Sagittarius for me. And Sagittarius, I believe, is the philosopher. Is not higher knowledge, but anyways. point is, look at old videos that you haven't looked at before. You can get a lot of good knowledge from this. Like I said, for example, like I'm talking about the 7 pranic principles when I'm talking about astrology. Am I not? I'm talking about gender. I'm talking about polarity. The law of gender, law of polarity are in there. As within, so without. I'm talking about, okay, conscious mind, but your subconscious mind, which is also your gender. But I don't hit on every single fucking 7 pranic principle. But because I've been in a depolarized state, and I might be more polarized now than I was a few months ago. But the point is, you can understand this stuff so much better if you are coming from a depolarized state. Because when you're depolarized, you move that line. I was listening to another one of Frater's videos. It was the one on how to win the lottery using magic. And Ralph Smart disagreed with me. Not personally, but he said, you can't fake it till you make it. That's bullshit. But what I want to clarify about the fake it till you make it is there's something called force and form. So, visualization. I don't know if that'd be force or form. I think that'd be form. But your visualization is what you can do, and what you use to fake it. Okay? So when you visualize and you say things and you use things like sorry about that. Somebody just fucking peeled out of my fucking driveway like a fucking idiot. I'm kind of curious to see what the fuck that is. But anyways, when you use force is the emotion as far as I can tell. It's the emotion you need. You need the emotion to I'm gonna have to edit the shit out of this. Sorry, my mind's somewhere else. Told my buddy he comes over here, I'm gonna beat the shit out of him. So I thought maybe that was him. I just pulled in and then pulled out. But anyways, all right, back on task. So force and form. One of those is the one where you can fake it till you make it, and it's attached to your visualizations. The visualizations you can fake, but the form, the emotion, you can fake it, but not really. This is why I say if you can call on memories of when you're really excited or happy, if you can channel that same memory, I can kind of do that with a lot of things, and that's how I first started off by doing my magic. I said I used the term emotion on demand or something like that, or something to that effect. And it was because I would think of a time where I got really happy, or I'd use a song where I get teared up or something to that effect, and I would use that to get my emotions. So anytime I thought about what I wanted to manifest, I would channel that emotion, and that's half of the formula. So the formula to win $1 million or win the lottery, you have to use the emotion that you would have if you won the lottery. And if you've never won the lottery, it's hard to duplicate the adrenaline rush and all that kind of shit, right? The excitement, the adrenaline rush, the sheer fucking, oh my god, my problems are solved. But the fake it till you make it part that you do is the visualization. You visualize it happening and you put the gratitude in it, and all that shit is the part that you can fake it till you make it. And sorry about that. Alright, sorry. Sorry about all that dead air and me looking around and shit like that. Like I said, I don't know if anybody's coming to fucking fight or not, but if he does, it's on. We're starting to fucking have a lot of fighting shit going on, man. I'm talking about fucking Aries and shit. But anyways, so my main focus of this video was to talk about my moon in Gemini, and how that's how I am able to channel information. Now, is that how I can channel all information? Probably not. Probably other ways. I know if you go into trance and you get rid of how many times have you gotten, I don't know about you guys, but I know me, if I go meditate and I empty my mind, which at the beginning I wasn't able to do, but now I can do, I start getting pictures like a motherfucker, like dreams basically. But awake, I'm just trying to be in my subconscious mind, but be aware of it at the same time, right? And that's another form of channeling. Do you know what those pictures mean? No, but I've had many times where I've seen pictures from that, and then the fastest was the same day. One time I saw this image, and later on I watched a movie, Max Egan, The Awakening, and the same thing I saw in my hypnosis, Maybe I was hypnotizing myself. But I think I saw in my trance state with those visualizations that come, like there was a bunch of people, and all of a sudden this image was there for a while. And that's why I took note of it. And then later I'm watching the Max Egan thing, and then The Awakening, and then I saw the same image there. Holy fuck, I got chills. Like my whole body was the heat. I get the heat feeling a lot when I start talking about something, and then it's like, okay, I need that. To me, when I get the heat feeling, it's like, yeah, something I need to talk about. It's like my Mars telling me, yeah, keep going on this idea. So I got that, and then I got chills, and then I got like, I don't know, a bunch of overwhelming feelings. So I ended up recording that, and I ended up putting it on my podcast at one time, all just audio, but still, point is, there's other ways to channel. So regardless of what I say where your moon is, because you might find your moon in, who knows, let's say your moon is in fucking not a water sign or an earth sign that's receptive, so you have it in a fire sign, let's say. Oh, great. I'll have it in a fucking war sign or a fucking hothead sign. Well, it's not that bad of a thing. It means your subconscious mind you might be able to unlock a connection to your subconscious mind by projecting. Once again, communication is an air sign, and air is part of the positive polarity. It's masculine. Masculine is the projective side. Like I said, fire is more projective than air, but nonetheless, both air and fire are projective, and both water and earth are receptive. Earth receives the plants, it receives us, it receives, insects. You put dead bodies in the earth and it decays. We put our garbage in the earth and, it gets rid of it. The earth will decay everything and anything. Water receives as well. Water, one drop of water will hold more information on it than I think they say, like computer chips and shit like that. That's why they're starting to use it in Silicon Valley. Something you can look into yourself. But point is, if you don't have your moon in a receptive sign, don't freak out, because that's one of the things I did. Like, oh fuck, it's in an air sign. That's kind of shitty. But then it's like, wait, I started learning about Gemini through my astrologers that I watched and just other astrologies, and then I started learning about just the sign of Gemini in general, and then I started learning about what it means the moon, and I was like, fuck, this is awesome. And any sign your moon's in is going to have pros and cons. Now, I'm not an astrologer. I think maybe I could be if I studied it more and started learning the signs, and but at this present time I couldn't. Like, I already tried, and maybe it's because I've had a few shots of vodka rum, but I'm not ready to start going through all the signs and telling you where your moon is. And if I practiced, prepared for it, potentially I think I could probably come up with some correspondences for you, but at the moment, not so much. Like, if your moon was in Taurus, well, it's materialistic, right? That's an earth sign, so maybe when you're, that's going to be hard for me to do right now. But if you type in, okay, moon in the sign of Taurus, or moon in the sign of Cancer, which Cancer would be probably a good place, because that's where the moon is at home, right? But it's also family, it's also home, it's not so much communication. So me having the moon in a communication sign is great, because to me that's a channeling sign. But there's not too much about that. Whenever you see moon in Cancer, moon in Scorpio, moon in Pisces, you get, oh, you're going to be a great channeler, you're going to be great, you have this great intuition and all this shit. And I didn't have much of that with my signs at first glance, and then as I start going deeper into my signs, I actually saw that, well, fuck, I have quite a few signs that are actually very much intuitive, and whatever the case is, it turns out to be true. So don't get all heartbroken if your moon isn't in a sign, because you can have other intuitive signs around your chart, and you start learning about it. Just don't look at the things that you think is cool. Like, where's my Mercury? My third eye. Oh, that's gonna be a good one. Okay. Where's my moon? Okay. Where's my Jupiter? Is it in a good spot for money? Don't just look at the cool ones. Look at every single one. And don't even do that. Just look at your houses in general and what signs they are in. And some of those bad boys will line up and be intuitive for you. Same thing with the MC, the IC, the AC, and the DC. The ascendants are what most people focus on, but you want to know about your subconscious mind, look around your descendant. And then the other two lines, well, what do I always talk about? I talk about the pentagram. I talk about the four elements, right? So ascendant, conscious, let's just say earth, or fire if you want, fire for your conscious, and descendant would be earth. Well, for me, I got earth and I got water for my ascendant and descendant. So I got a lot of receptivity, but your polarity is your up and down, your air and your fucking water, right? Well, look where those two signs are as well. And you're going to learn a little bit more about yourself that way as well. You'll find out, where your polarity is. You're going to see where your gender lies, right? Where your conscious gender is and your subconscious gender is. Mine seems to be all female. Yet, I've never been attracted to men or anything like that. And I'm not trying to say that this is a way to tell, although I know Freddie Xavier said that in something I heard before. If you're looking for LGBT, I think it was in his Libra video on this free channel, so check it out. And I would be all feminine, so almost maybe a feminine guy, and I am a very sensitive feminine kind of guy, especially when it comes to look and all that. But because of all my earth and water, I have this connection to the earth, and because I have this connection to earth, I'm very physical. I can be fast if I need to be fast. I've always been one of the fastest guys on a hockey team, baseball team. I've always been one of the strongest guys in anything I've done. I'm not even that big right now, but I can lift quite a bit of weight, and I've always been able to. And then I learned extra tips about how to use earth, like bending down first and then lifting something. You get the earth engaged in what you move, and it's crazy how much you can lift when you actually use the earth to your benefit. So look at where everything is on your chart and start exploring, start learning about your Saturn, and do the Neptunes and the Plutos and all that, but start with the 7 definitely first. Definitely check out the nodes of the moon, because that's going to be like conscious mind, or sorry, where you're comfortable. It's going to be either Rahu, I think it's Rahu, maybe it's K2, but it's going to be your south node of the moon is where you're comfortable, which mine is in Scorpio, or my subconscious mind is past life, whatever. All your data from all your other lives would be within your subconscious mind, right? That's where the divine is, that's where your soul is, that's what I've been talking about. So I'm comfortable in the occult, which is probably why I like witchcraft and fucking ceremonial magic. I feel comfortable talking about this. It didn't take much. It's a year after I started learning the occult and doing my fucking transformation process, I started talking about it. And some of my videos are not the greatest, but there's other ones that I think is like, holy fuck. And I've had people like, how do you only have this many subscribers? How do you have this great knowledge and no one's watching you? And it's like, well, because there's not a lot of people ready for this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I don't put tags, maybe whatever the case is. I'm very depolarized, but certain people that need my info, I think, are finding it. And the fact that I'm getting more subscribers, I think I'm at 43 or 44, which is great. It means there's more people that are in need of my level of knowledge, whatever that may be, and so be it. But the point is, it didn't take me much to understand this stuff. And like I said, my fucking grandmother was, a fucking witch, and I grew up learning that my grandmother was a witch my whole life, knowing that this shit is possible and powers are possible and all this. I've had that programming since I was a kid, so whether or not I have it in my blood to do this, which is very likely, but I also have it programmed in my mind that this shit is possible. So it's another barrier I didn't have to break. And if you don't have that programming, well, you know how you put that programming in there? Watch occult shit. Every chance you get, don't ignore your family, don't ignore your wife, do that thing. But every time you get a chance, if you're doing chores, whatever, say you don't want to do a chore, you want to lay down and watch a movie. Well, do the chore, put the movie on fucking headphones and listen to it. You'll program your mind that occult shit is real in no time. If you still have the Christian programming in there, whatever, then you do a few candles saying, I replace my programming with this. And you do that for like a month, and then, maybe split it up with something else maybe you need the next month, and the following month you do it again until you realize, holy fuck, the Christian programming really isn't in there anymore. Because I don't think money is the root of all evil. And I have this new understanding of, there is baneful acts and there is evil in the world, but for the most part, the things that are evil playing out are really just going to get people to either rise up against it, kibosh it, or they're going to get people to open their eyes and wake up. So even the evil acts end up bringing a greater good, Sometimes people that think they're doing good bring over evil acts, and that's where polarity, or being depolarized, is really eye-opening, because you can see both sides of the spectrum. Where being too lovey-dovey and helping everybody out could make you poor and miserable. You can get shit on, taken advantage of. In the same sense, you see that being a dick isn't nice, but there are certain people in your family that people walk all over that you tell you need to be more of a dick. And there's some people that are too much of a dick. Like, you need to let people walk over you for a bit. You can see that, and it's not for us to judge and tell people what to do. But anyways, I'm babbling. Rum. It's gonna be start talking coming through me because I have to pee. So, and I know that when you pee is when the alcohol goes through the bloodstream. So I was trying to hold off on that because I didn't want to start slurring. However, who knows if I already am or not. I think I'm talking in circles. I think this video is not going to be that great. But still going to put it out there because, I said something probably useful on here for somebody. Anyways, once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, listening. I really fucking appreciate it. Everybody who watches my shit is awesome. I don't even know who watches my shit, but I really do appreciate it. And yeah, hope you have a great fucking night. I'm gonna go fuck my wife.